Before Florida became the land of sunshine, theme parks, and palm-lined beaches, before European ships ever touched the coastline, there existed a kingdom so powerful, so feared, and so mysteriously advanced. Its people ruled the oceans without ever planting a single crop. A maritime empire built on seashells. A warrior nation that controlled South Florida for nearly 1,000 years. And yet today, almost nobody remembers their name. This is the story of the Calusa. The forgotten Florida empire that ruled the seas. Picture Southwest Florida, mangrove forests twisting like giant fingers, warm Gulf waters, islands scattered like ancient stones thrown by the gods. This is where the Calusa Kingdom rose. Long before Miami nightlife or Tampa skyscrapers, this land belonged to a people who understood the ocean better than almost any civilization on Earth. The Calusa were not farmers. They didn't build plowed fields or harvest corn like other Native American societies. They did something far more extraordinary. They built an entire civilization powered only by the sea. They lived around what is now Charlotte Harbor, Fort Myers, Sanibel, and Captiva. They constructed massive island cities out of millions of seashells. They engineered canals. They carved wooden statues that still confuse historians. And they developed a political structure so complex it shocked the first Europeans who met them. This wasn't a tribe. This wasn't a small village. This was a kingdom, complete with nobility, inherited power, and a ruler whose word was law. How the Calusa became a power. To understand their rise, you have to imagine Florida not as a vacation paradise, but as a battleground of storms, predators, and unpredictable tides. Most societies needed agriculture to build kingdoms. But the Calusa looked at the ocean and said, "Everything we need is already here." From the mangroves they gathered building material. From the estuaries they harvested fish so abundantly that they built entire economies around it. They built massive fish corrals, wooden structures hundreds of feet wide, that captured seafood with the precision of modern engineering. This gave them something no neighboring society had. A permanent, reliable food surplus. Food surplus equals people. People equal armies. Armies equal power. By around the 1100s, the Calusa had grown into the dominant force of South Florida. Their rulers lived on a royal island called Mound, a man-made landscape raised from mountains of shells and engineered with canals deep enough to allow large war canoes to glide right into the heart of the capital. Their navy. Fast, sleek canoes cut from cypress trees. Boats capable of traveling along the Florida coast and even out into the Gulf of Mexico. Their enemies? Fearful. Their allies? Carefully selected. Their network? Expansive. By the time Europeans arrived, the Calusa Kingdom controlled over 50 villages across hundreds of miles. This wasn't just rise. It was domination. What made the Calusa unique? The Calusa Golden Age wasn't defined by palaces made of gold or monumental stone temples, but by a culture so advanced it reshaped everything historians thought they knew about early Florida. The shell cities. Imagine walking across an island where the ground crunches beneath your feet, because the entire island is made of seashells. Mound, their capital, rose 30 feet high in some places, built layer by layer over centuries. These weren't random piles. They were engineered platforms, plazas, roads, and elevated homes for the elite. The Calusa government. Unlike many other tribes in North America, Calusa society had a hereditary king called the cacique, specialized nobles, priests, warriors, skilled craftsmen, a labor class. When Spanish explorers met the Calusa, they described them as a fierce people ruled by a mighty king, obeyed without question. See their maritime power. The Calusa weren't just fishermen. They were sea engineers. Their fish corrals functioned like natural refrigerators. Their canoes could travel long distances. Their mastery of tides and currents gave them a military advantage no inland people could match. Their art and beliefs. The Calusa carved masks and wooden sculptures that seem almost otherworldly. Their religion revolved around three spiritual powers: the ruler, the nobility, and the priestly class. They believed the souls of the dead lived on in the world, influencing the living. Their rituals were complex, their ceremonies theatrical, their imagery haunting. One surviving artifact, the Key Marco cat, is considered one of the greatest archaeological discoveries in North America. But the Calusa Golden Age wasn't just about beauty. It was about power. Every great kingdom has an enemy. For the Calusa, it wasn't drought. It wasn't famine. It wasn't even other tribes. It was the arrival of European explorers, men who sailed across the ocean with steel, disease, and ambition. In 1513, Juan Ponce de León arrived. He expected peaceful trade. Instead, he met the Calusa. The Calusa attacked with such ferocity that Ponce de León fled. Humiliated, wounded, and shocked that a new world kingdom had stood its ground, he returned in 1521 to establish a colony. The Calusa drove him off again. This time, he died from his wounds. Their message was clear: Florida belongs to us. But the greatest enemy wasn't Spanish steel. It was disease, invisible, unstoppable. Smallpox, measles, influenza, diseases the Calusa had no immunity to. The mystery of their downfall begins here. How does a kingdom that stood strong for centuries collapse so quickly? How does a nation that controlled oceans and commanded thousands suddenly fade into silence? Was it war? Was it migration? Was it plague? Or something deeper? Historians debate this even today. By the late 1600s, the Calusa world was unraveling. Spanish missionaries attempted to convert them. The Calusa resisted fiercely, refusing to abandon their beliefs. Raids from other tribes, now armed with European weapons, intensified. Disease swept through their cities. Some fled south to the Keys. Some scattered into Cuba. Some vanished into the swamps. By the early 1700s, the Calusa Kingdom was gone. No final battle. No dramatic surrender. Just silence, spreading across the shell mounds where kings once ruled. Like a tide that slowly pulls away, leaving only traces in the sand. What the Calusa left behind. Today, the Calusa Kingdom is gone. But its fingerprints remain across Florida. Every shell mound along the coast, a Calusa legacy. Every carved artifact found in the wetlands, a Calusa memory. Communities along the Gulf still bear names from their language. The canals they engineered influenced later settlements. Their environmental knowledge continues to inspire modern researchers studying sustainability. And perhaps the most powerful legacy of all, the reminder that Florida once had an empire, a kingdom that ruled the seas, a nation that thrived without farms, without metal, without European influence, a civilization built from shells, the ocean, and sheer ingenuity, a forgotten empire. Until now. You've been watching Dude Historian, uncovering the stories the world left behind.